kind of person who shoots a Kimber appreciates the attention to detail we put into every firearm we make. So when you tell us you want something new, that gets our attention. You want a micro compact, optics installed. You want high capacity and higher capacity. A flat trigger, less felt recoil. American made. And lots of upgrades built in. You want it, you got it. The Kimber R7 Mako. Feed your appetite for something different.
Sorry about that. Kiefer's not in here. Anyways, we're going to bring in, I don't know if y'all have seen TikTok and Instructor Mike. He has been kind of blowing up all over TikTok about some things. And I've been watching his videos and seeing some things. And we're going to bring him on. We'll also have another guest by John Crump with Black Swan Media. I'm going to go ahead and get those added real quick. How are y'all doing?
All right. How are you?
All right. I see your TikToks are blowing up right now.
Thank you.
And you've got that new deal called Veteran. What is it? Veteran.
Project Veteran. It's Veteran Overwatch, but
Overwatch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I watched some of your videos, and I was, and I'm an active threat instructor, and we do a lot of, we work with a lot of schools and things like that, and churches. And when I see some of your videos, I was like, I don't know if this is a good idea, if this guy's a brilliant guy, because right now, nobody's got the answers, and we've got to start thinking outside the block or outside the box. We've got to start looking at these things. We've got to start coming up with a better answer of how to deal with this, and there's so much information and so much misinformation coming out of the school down out at South Texas, that you don't know what to believe. And right now you have the police chief that's refusing to talk.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's refusing to talk to the investigators.
Yeah.
And of course, Mike, this is John. John, this is Mike.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Hey, how are you, sir?
Good.
I push for school marshal programs 100%. And a lot of people do not know what the school marshal program is. They've never heard of the school marshal program. And, the state House Bill 1009 passed a law a few years back that gives the school district, the state pays, for the training and the education and for the, the marshal to go through all the training. And that is that marshal's job, whether he's a retired vet or he's retired law enforcement or whatever the situation is, that is their job. Their sole purpose in a school is to protect that school and everybody in it. Teachers, students, my kid goes to, I'm not going to say which school, but my kid goes to a school that has a school marshal program. And I am 100% confident that these guys will lay down their life to save these kids, because I know them. I talk to them. I had one here the other day that said, I look at my kids and those teachers like family. And that's what we need. We need people, and you're, I don't know, Illinois, do they have anything like this?
No.
No. And some of these schools like Santa Fe, Texas, and Uvalde, they opted out of this program.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, well, you can tell Biden. Biden said, his press secretary said that Biden does not support hardening the schools.
And that's ridiculous. I mean, their whole concept is to take guns away. But yet, does everybody remember the Fast and the Furious, right? Where they lost all those guns down in Mexico? Our government sent all. I mean, they're literally giving guns to other countries, but wanting to take ours.
Right.
Yeah, David Cordrea broke the Fast and Furious story, the gun walking scandal, and that was terrible because a Border Patrol agent actually lost his life due to it.
Yes, and I'm surprised those guns haven't been back over here as many as they lost.
They probably are. We just probably don't know about it.
Now, Mike's got a good idea coming up for up there in Illinois, and that is veteran Overwatch. I mean, they don't.
I mean, they're trained to do it, right?
Yeah. Veteran Overwatch. Go to your local school. Set out your local school, and make these schools do something.
Right.
I'm
on Overwatch now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we as parents, we as the public need to. I mean, you pay school taxes, right? Everybody pays school taxes. You live in a school district, you're paying school taxes, which everybody lives in a school district.
Right.
We have the right to vote in our school board members. So if we need to start getting these people out of like Uvalde, that school board needs to be gone. That whole police department needs to be gone. Those school board members need to be gone. Santa Fe, the shooting at Santa Fe, they didn't adopt the school marshal program. And did you know they still do not have the school marshal program?
No, Chad, you seem a little bit heated about this.
I am mad because I work with these people, John. I work with these school marshals, man, and I'm very passionate about protecting our children, which the left don't think we are.
Yeah, it's we got to take emotion out of it. We got to look at it from a logical standpoint and look at the data. And the data says that 94% of all mass shootings happen in a gun-free zone. John Lott Jr. has done a lot of research on this, and he's published a lot of studies on his website, which is I can't remember what crimeresearch.org, I believe it is. I could be wrong. But they have a lot of research. They link to a lot of peer-reviewed studies. Crimeresearch.org, yeah.
And you can also go to the FBI active shooter incidents 20-year review. I've got the report here, and look at the places where these active shootings take place. You've got businesses with open areas to pedestrian traffic, businesses with closed areas to pedestrian traffic, and elementary schools. Yeah. And so when you see that, I know we're talking about guns. I know we're talking about wanting them to change the laws, but I'm disgusted with what happened in Uvalde. Because Robb Elementary, I mean, you guys got what we are asking for, which is the legislative ability to be able to do this, and for them to opt out of it with the police department there and not having the response. And then certain things have changed, so to speak, where they're saying there was a police response, and you're seeing certain videos come out where you see that windows were breached and they were pulling kids out of the windows and things like that. So there was certain kinds of police response, but not the response that we are used to, which is breach that door, get in there, stop the shooter, not getting the kids out is important too. We don't want to, water down their response, but what about taking care of that shooter? And that's the part where we keep relying on the government to do for us what we could do for us. And that's where Project Veteran Overwatch came as a result of that.
That's we've got to start stepping up, because I mean, what was it? The federal judge ruled back in 2005 and again in 2017 that police officers do not have a duty to protect you. Now, I back the blue. I have a lot of friends that are police officers. I have family of police officers, but technically, the judge has already ruled they don't have a duty to protect you. I don't know how this is going to come about due to the Uvalde and them not going in, but you're right. They should have, when they heard firing and shooting, they should have went in. They should have stormed in, because think of how many kids bled to death laying in that room because they left him in there for an hour.
And then there's go ahead.
No, you got to remember the shooter was not stopped by the Uvalde Police Department. He was stopped by an off-duty border patrol.
Yes.
Yep. BORTAC. Yep. And then there's reports something about them not being able to get access because of them not having keys. So there's so many reports, and of course the investigation is still unfolding. But neither here nor there. Keys or not, we go into the windows. Keys or not, we're going into that school. And again, like I said, this is, I don't know. I've been a police officer before, and I've always had no problem being healthily insubordinate and disregarding the orders of chiefs. And so, if you don't understand, if I may, if you don't understand the difference between administrative and operational chiefs, if you've never been in the police department, you may not understand that. Though I was in the military and I know how to follow orders, military leadership and how they create their leaders is different from how police chiefs are selected. Police chiefs are selected at the will and pleasure of the mayor, very little to any of qualification. And that's not for every police chief, but there are some that are highly substandard, but very sycophantic police chiefs that, bend to the will of the mayor and is a yes man, and Arredondo, it appears to be the case.
Yeah. He was, when all this happened, he was in command. That chief of police down there was in command of all that situation because that is his city, his town. He was the one in control. They should have breached that door and went in guns blazing. I mean, full stride. I mean, we teach that. That. There's no slicing the pie. There's no inner rooms, single. You hear gunshots, you're going as fast as you can. And this key thing, if they go to a felon's house to do a no-knock search, do they need a key then?
No. We've got plenty of tools to make entry.
Yeah, they got plenty of tools to make. So why didn't they have these tools to make these entries there?
I think they did. I think
they just didn't want to use them.
They used it. I think they were scared.
Yeah, I think you've got it right, John.
They are not scared to disobey orders.
Yeah.
Scared to disobey orders. I would have been one of the ones that, I'm sorry, you're going to fire me. I'm going in.
I did a TikTok video a while back that says it doesn't take a person, and it really blew up. It does not take a person with a gun to stop a bad person with a gun. It takes the right person with a gun to stop a bad person with a gun. And that's the right individual. Somebody that's willing to draw. Somebody's willing to put their life, lay down their life for others. Somebody that's willing to intervene. Somebody that's got heart, courage. That's what I was talking about. It takes the right individual.
Yeah, that's a very sad thing. It makes you think of Columbine. It really makes you think of Columbine. Where they got there on scene, but they waited for SWAT.
And we learned there was the whole active threat program was written in 1995. There was an individual that wrote the entire active threat program, and part of that program is going in full speed. You hear shooting, you're going in. You're not waiting. Even though I watched his interview, even though a majority of these things, these situations turn out to be hostage situations, you're still going in.
Right.
And that's where they failed.
Yeah. I'm just curious as to what, if anything, led the chief to believe that this was a hostage situation. What is his background, training, and experience? Because it's like a 911 call. Take for instance, you get a 911 call, and then all of a sudden it's a hang up. Guess what we're doing? Premise check on that location.
Yeah.
You get somebody said, oh, it was domestic. Oh, we're fine. We made up. Guess what? Police are still knocking at your door. Yeah. We're not taking your word for it, Chief. We're going in to find out ourselves. That's it. And I think that a percentage of these things, look, I'm, like I said, former police, back to blue, but cops got to stand up too, and everybody's talking about what they don't have a problem risking until it's time to actually risk it. Like, risk the job, fire me, let's go,
Yeah.
So yeah, this was sad.
Yeah. I mean, if you would have saved those kids, even if you got fired, I'm pretty sure you would get hired like right away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody would be wanting you. I mean, because
sure.
because the fact they're not going to look at you as disobeying orders. All of a sudden, what order? They didn't give you no order. All of a sudden, you're a
Right.
hero, and look at him. You got the key to the city. But school marshals, and we'll get back to school marshals. School marshals, and I understand. I tell everybody in an active threat situation, like in a church or school, in this situation, it would have been a little different because they heard him shooting outside. School marshal would have been ready. They'd have been calling other school marshals from the other campuses. Okay. But the like in a church, things like that, usually somebody has been shot, or the gunfire has gone off before the guardians or marshals draw their guns. They're there to minimize the damage. Period. If they would
Yeah.
have rushed that school and went in that school, went into that classroom, how many kids would they have saved?
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? I still think that when it comes down to defending the castle, defending the house, it has to be an all hands on deck
Mhm.
approach.
I
It
agree.
can't just be just the marshals. It can't just be, Overwatch, if that becomes a thing, which I'm hoping it does. It has to be an all hands on deck. Children learning within the capacity of what they can do to take certain things and fight
Mhm.
back with that stuff. It has to be all hands on deck approach. You know, Teachers, security, because I'm telling you, it's the complacency for me. It's the complacency. I've worked in a school before and I teach security officers as a profession and I've been a supervisor in these things. So I've got the boots on the ground experience, as I'm sure you do too, to be able to say, hey, look, right now everybody's on alert. Give it about a month. Let's see how many doors are
Exactly.
still locked. Give it
All
some time. All the momentum's going to go down.
Yeah. And that's not with everybody. That's with a majority of people. A majority of
Yes.
people. Um, a majority of people and things. It's like all of a sudden something happens, and now all of a sudden everybody wants to flood the training, and they all want to own a gun, and then a month or two, it all goes away, and then something else happens, and now they're back at it again. You're exactly
Yeah.
right. They get
Like a
complacent.
yo-yo.
Yeah, they get complacent. Um,
Yeah.
That's why I'm proud of the school my son goes to, is because those guys train every month. They watch that school all the time. They're not complacent. They're constantly checking doors. I mean, they have their shit together. And I'm proud to say that. Um, these other schools could too, if they had a leader to step up and say, this is what we're going to do. My school's got two phenomenal leaders and a great school board that backs
Yeah.
this. Uh, you need a strong school board. You need strong leaders to be able to implement this into your schools and make sure that your school is going to be protected.
Right. 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 Yeah. And you know what? Like I said, even with Overwatch, like, I just wish that it become a thing nationwide. And my hope and prayer for it is that you have school boards who are on board with this, who don't mind the veterans on, two-dimensional corners, just walking up to the door, pushing it just to check to make
Mhm.
sure it's locked. It's all hands on deck. It's a community approach. We appreciate you, John, Tom, Tim, Mary, Dave, for just on your spare time, just walk up, push the door. If you see a door open, call us, let us know. We'll immediately secure it. It's just we have to take that approach. And that's what the active threat, the active shooter is counting on, is the complacency.
Yeah.
They're counting on people not paying attention, no one not watching, not expecting anyone to be there, just pulling into the parking lot, parking and just walking right on in. They count on that, you know.
Yeah. Well, thank you, UAV Hero, for purchasing two holsters. All right. This is Joe. Lives could have been saved. We need to protect our schools. Always carry 100%. We need to start. I think we just lost John.
Hmm.
We need to start with school boards. We need to start
Yeah.
with replacing school boards. We need to start replacing us as parents. Let me add him back in. We can start this by going to your school boards, having a voice. You pay taxes. You have a right to go to these school board meetings. You have a right to get in there and demand that they implement a better plan, and that they implement and they get these active threat plans in place, and they have somebody that's going to, that is their sole job, is to implement this thing.
Mm-hmm. But then you have to live in an area where they really, first of all, you need the numbers, and they need to really fear the fact that you could vote them out.
Yes.
And I think that you are very correct. You're onto something when you're saying school boards, because the numbers for the school board elections are not the same numbers as like
No.
a trustee or an alderman or a mayor or a governor. They got small numbers, so it's easy to vote them out. Like, oh, you're not going to make good on your threat. You only need 5. Like,
yeah, I mean, you literally had 103 votes last. I mean,
here's 107 people in here right now. That's not hard to do. So yes, you are definitely onto something. But like where I am in Chicago, we don't have an elected school board. We have it's a strong mayor form of government where the mayor controls the schools and stuff like that. And so, in places, that's why I said these things that are being said, people have to take into consideration whatever works for your town is what works for your town.
Yes.
But if you're talking about school boards, well, that won't work here. So what is it that we can do on our level that can mitigate the threat, that can get everybody involved, that can increase the eyes? Learning how to use your weapon effectively. I'll say this and I'll, yield. Everybody who carries a gun, and I've carried one for a long time, they only think gun. Like, you don't know about the options that you have until you don't have the gun, and now you got to choose something else.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that creates a trade. Carrying a gun every day and not trading on other things honestly creates a reaction scar that you don't think about anything that you can use around you, and the gun is always your go-to until it jams, until it does this, then you're frozen.
Yeah, training is a big part of this. I mean, you've got to train on other things, and of course we talk to, of course, there's a difference between a civilian out there walking the street and somebody protecting school. We
Sure.
tell our civilians, use that verbal judo, try to get out, de-escalate, try to walk away. Let's not get ourselves in, if there's a dark alley over here and everybody's walking this way, let's not walk down the dark alley. Let's walk this way with traffic. Let's try to keep ourselves out of it. But in a school situation, I mean, that problem's coming to you, and it's coming to you fast. And you've got to be trained
and ready, and ready to risk it all. Like I said, that stress-induced training. Everybody's ready to do gun shit till it's time to do gun shit. Everybody's ready to do cop stuff till it's time to do cop stuff. Saying something 1,000 times is not the same thing as living it once. When it's time to live it once, hey, it may be my last. So let me go on ahead and go out. And if I survive, cool. Let's stay humble, keep training, keep going.
Yeah, I think one of the things that people need to do is get off the flat range so much and train in like a dynamic range under stress.
Yes.
I took a class with a guy who was a MARSOC guy, which is like Marine Special Forces.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the Marines, he joined the Army and became an SF guy. And I went through one of his training classes, and it was intense and it was not fun, but I learned a lot.
Yeah.
They were throwing water on you, yelling at you, just trying to introduce stress. And it's totally different when that is in play from just, a flat range.
True. Very true. Very true.
Yes. And I'll go back here. Kevin Bay's been through one of our DSF classes. Of course, we teach Rob Pincus's course for defensive shooting. We're actually certified to teach under USCCA. But Kevin here went through one of our DSF courses, and that's all speed precision. Our second day, which we haven't added yet, is going to be a lot more stressful. we wanted to get the dynamic of that synaptic memory down, which a lot of people use as muscle memory. It's synaptic, but we wanted to, you've got to get into that habit of doing things over and over and over. Otherwise, you will fail when it comes time to react. And this right here, this sent my son to high school and college with a Kevlar Shield. My son does wear a backpack. He does. It's one of those that zip, and he could throw it over him and have front and chest plate. It is designed for handgun only because he carries enough stuff in his backpack. He don't need, it's a level 3A. He's only in 7th grade. He don't need that much stuff on him. But it's sad that we have to resort to that. But yes, Peter, we've got to do what we got to do to protect our kids.
Agreed. So yeah, definitely agree.
And the reason my son wears a backpack and he takes it everywhere, it's not because I'm not 100% confident in our school or our school marshals. It's because I know what the protocols are if they're outside the classroom. So I know that's why he takes his with him.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. And like I said, that's amazing that you have that kind of trust built up where you believe that they will do what they need to do.
Yes.
It's just a complacency. How many warning signs do you see prior to, that things are going to go wrong? Stop ignoring these kids, and we also got to start at the parenting level too. We got to start at the parenting level too, because kids, if we're talking about those shooters that are school grown, homegrown and school grown too, we got to train our kids to, that doesn't mean you have to like everyone. We don't want to, create a culture where that is a thing, but the bullying, because then you drive a child to feel as though, they're already getting bullied at home, likely, or getting no attention, have a very inactive parent, and then they come to school, and then you got the kids who maybe this person isn't wearing the kind of shoes that you wear, or the kind of clothes that you wear. You're pushing that child to a place where they feel, well, no one in here likes me, so they don't have a value for human life. And then they decide they want to do that. It's all these other things that we can attack before we immediately get to the gun, and that stuff is not being addressed.
Yes, and now it's come out in mixed motions, because apparently they've talked to this kid's, and I'm not going to say his name. This guy's his classmates, and they're saying he was the bully, that he was always trying to attack people and start fights. Now there could, and apparently the FBI talked to him 4 years ago. That's come out.
Well,
so where were they now? If he was already,
my thing is this: having been a criminal investigator and having been on the side of a lie, I'm not saying that that's true or not. What I'm saying is we are not in the 60s, 70s, or 80s, or even the 90s, arguably, where evidence is hard to come by. Where's the evidence that you've actually, not the FBI, we know we ain't gonna get nothing from that, right? But from the schools, where's the text messages that this kid has been bullying? Where's the videos? Where's the evidence? There's so many ways that you could, look at on the internet. We see fight videos all the time. It's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to say it and then have the proof to back it, where, okay, now we see he's a bully. And if in fact that was the case, that he was the bully, where was the action by the schools? Where was the action by the parents? I think it's too easy to just throw the blame on the shooter, which the blame is his for the shooting, and not throw the blame on the community that is tight-knit in one area but lackadaisical in the other. I think this has to be an all hands on deck approach, that yes, okay, we complained about him before. Maybe we could have gone to the police and created a report. Whether they was going to do something or not, that's fine. But we got the documented evidence in the event that something happens.
You guys know what Joe Rogan said about all this, right? Well, not about this, but he said that we have a mental health problem disguised as a gun control problem. Of gun, because It's not the gun that does the shooting.
Right. Right.
But it
I
seems
think,
like they blame it on the gun.
but mental health also gets blamed too. It's either going to be the gun for one side, it's going to be mental health for the other. And I think that, yeah, okay, mental health. But what gets a person to that breaking point? I'm an anger management specialist. I deal with angry folks all the time, whatever the case, non-violent crisis intervention instructor, what gets them to that breaking point? How many homes even know something so simple as Maslow's hierarchy of needs? The things that you need to do to build yourself up so you can teach your children better. I argue this all the time. Parenting is the one profession, now I'll call it a profession. It's the one profession where it requires no LEO, no licensure, no evaluation, and no oversight. You can be a parent simply because you can create children, and there is an expectation that you know what to do. And then when you don't know what to do, it's like, I did my best. No, you didn't do your best. And then you're not seeking out to get the help so you can heal from your trauma bonding scars, so that you can be better, so that you can raise better children, so that they know how to deal with bullying, because it's going to happen. They have realistic self-esteem,
That goes back to it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah, but there's another African proverb that never gets talked about, and that's the child not embraced by the village will burn it to feel its warmth.
Wow, I like that.
I like that.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we're talking about the village. Like, instead of just bullying the kid, find out what's going on with the kid. You don't have to like them, but stop creating the shooters. You're creating your own shooters. There's a common theme amongst these shooters where it's like they were bullied, and this is the first time I'm hearing, in the right now, that the shooter was actually the bully. Usually, the shooter has had a history of being ostracized, a history of being bullied, a history of being, what we would call socially deviant before they become criminally deviant, and it's like, you're not wearing this clothes, or you're not wearing this, or your mom's on this. We got it in the Black community too. Your mom's on crack rock, your mom's on this, all this other stuff, and you're creating the criminals that you despise.
Right here, Peter, I don't know if y'all see that. He talked, I remember them saying something about that, Peter. They talked to him 4 years ago because he threatened to shoot up school when he turned 18. They definitely should have been watching him. I mean, they knew he had a problem 4 years ago. Something should have been done 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, we had 4 years to prevent this, is what we had.
And I'm not saying the suggestion is just, you're not going to be able to police your way out of this. You're not going to be able to lock your way out of this, and you're not going to be able to shoot your way out of this either. This has to be a hands-on deck approach, and I'm not saying everybody begins to become a social worker, no, but you'll be surprised what hi, how are you? How's everything? Is everything cool? Okay, I may not be able to help you. Here's a program that can help you. At least we take maybe 15 minutes to just, even if it's a pamphlet, even if it's something, look at what 9/11 did. 9/11, everybody had an American flag, regardless of what you thought about the country. Everybody had an American flag. It galvanized us. It was like, that was the one thing, that, oh my God, it could really happen to you. It just, and now after that, what's an American flag? What's that? Yeah. F this, F the police, F this, F that. And this is like, okay, well, if this isn't working, what is the solution that you are willing to bring to the table? Because it can happen to you.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. And I see some people in your comments, and you're like, well, do you have a better way to doing things?
Yeah,
you have a better solution.
That's my own thing.
The doors are open. Comment. You got a better solution. You're criticizing my way of thinking, but you're not giving us a solution.
Yeah.
You're just saying, oh, that's wrong. It's kind of like, they'll come in, oh, we need to ban guns. That's not a solution.
No.
By no means. By no means is that a solution.
Right.
What I say, there's 400 million guns in the United States. If you ban guns tomorrow, there's still going to be 400 million guns in the United States.
Right.
You can't. There's more guns than there are people, so banning guns won't do anything because there's enough in circulation to last for hundreds of years.
Yeah. And I even said I was on Fox News nationally when I said this. I said they can't even stop guns. They can't even stop drugs from coming into the country. So if they can't stop drugs, they doggone sure are not stopping guns from coming into the country, because with the banning of guns, there will create a black market need for the the sale of guns. And the federal government often forgets that while it is strategically powerful and smart in certain cases, it's still relatively a small entity, the federal law enforcement entity. They often rely on local, state, and county law enforcement partners to execute and assist.
Yeah. Plus 3D printing has made gun control obsolete.
I mean,
I can go print a Glock frame.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to be breaking up meth labs anymore. You're going to be breaking up ammo labs in somebody's garage, you know, because people are going to be manufacturing ammo on the black market.
Man, I swear, I wish I would see a drive-by with a bow and arrow. Like, look, stop thinking that people aren't going to find ways to kill. You know what I'm saying? David allegedly killed Goliath with a slingshot. You got people going to Walmart buying slingshots and learning how to do that. Stop it. It's the human aspect, the human behind the tool, not the tool itself.
Yeah, it's like they think the gun is like the ring from the Lord of the Rings, where you put it on and it's going to make you evil.
It's not how it works.
Well, you've got misinformed people like Joe Biden out there talking about, oh, well, a 9mm is going to blow out your lung, you know, out the body. And you're going, a misinformed person that does not know about guns is going to believe that. And it's no different than the lady that come on and says, well, an AR makes an exit wound this big.
Or how about an AR is as heavy as what is it, like a 50-pound crate or something like that?
Yeah, I remember that. But I mean, that's misinformed people giving more people, misinformed people, information that's not correct.
You know, Chris Rock even said it too. Some people just love to not know. You know, some people just love to they just don't want to know. They don't care to know, you know, and that's, these are first world problems. These are the problems that only a first world country can have, because in a third world country, the sight of seeing an AK-47 or 74, that's every day. The sight of a kid being bombed or killed, that's every day. Death is a reality. You know, do we even teach our children, you know, about the fact that death is a thing? I could die someday. You could die someday. It's the arrogance of thinking that you have forever also lends to complacency.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I lived in the Philippines, and there's a bunch of terrorist attacks in the Philippines. And every time you have to go into someplace, they always have like the dogs and everything else, and it's always there. And it's very easy to get an illegal gun in the Philippines. You just go down to the local market, and they sell them like right out there. And they make 1911s out of boat metal, and they're beautiful.
I mean, you can make a gun from supplies at Lowe's for about $25, $30. I mean, if you really wanted to, it might be only one shot, one hit or quitter, but you can make one right down the road at Lowe's for about $25, maybe 30.
Remember when they were talking about banning the bump stops after the Vegas massacre? And like I said before, you cannot. Bump stock was a thing of ingenuity. How do you criminalize that? You cannot criminalize ingenuity. There's always going to be a way to get it done, you know. So that's just not going to work. But that's an agenda. It's a talking point.
Yeah.
So
it's no different than them wanting to come after our 9mm, because once they start trying to come after the 9s, it's going to be every caliber above it. So I would like to see Biden's Secret Service start carrying 22s if they're going to come after our 9s. I mean, but you see what I'm saying? I mean, they're trying to start that basing point of 9 so they can get the 40s, 45s, you know, 357s, all that stuff above it. We can't give them an inch because they will run with a mile.
They will for sure.
I mean, that's just
for sure.
Secret Service carries 357 SIGs.
Yeah. Yeah, 357 SIG. Yeah.
which is bigger than 9mm.
Wait, yeah, I mean the bullet size, sure, but the cartridge,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Well, we've got. I just wish our communities would come together and realize that banning guns is not the problem. We need to search other places. We need to start with the kid. We need to start with what happened. We need to start with what started this. How do we fix it there? We do have a mental health issue in this country. I mean, when you start, I don't even want to get into that. Go down that road. When you start normalizing things that are not normal, like kids wanting to be furries, that is a mental health issue, period. Things like that, when you normalize that, say that's okay, we're going to put cat litter boxes in our bathrooms, you're feeding the problem.
Yeah, there's a person on Twitch who's very popular who thinks that he is a unicorn. And people are like, well, you got to let him be who he is. It's like, he's not a unicorn.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, he's not. If you want to be a dog, I want to know where your rabies shots are, because technically you live in a city, you have to have your rabies shots.
You have to have your rabies shots, right?
You should be on a leash. You shouldn't be allowed in restaurants unless you're a service dog. I mean, and I'm not even gonna mention, but there was a deal where this little girl was biting some kids, and it was in a public school. And I told the parent, I said, I tell you what, if it was my kid, I would be up there wanting to know why. First of all, why has the dog pound not been called? Where's her rabies shots? Okay. Why is she not being quarantined for 3 days to make sure she doesn't have rabies? I mean, if they want to be a pet or an animal, then they need to be treated like an animal. They have to follow the same rules.
Sit outside in the cage. Yeah.
And
on the pad.
Why are they in the school? But we have to start with those issues, and a lot of that starts at home. Period. Starts at home.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole home life thing is totally overlooked, and a lot of people, they try to downplay the role that a home life plays, and I'm not exactly sure why they do that.
It's very important. Your home life and the stability is a very important thing.
Well, if we keep them blind to that fact that home life matters, the money is in the medicine, not the cure, right? So we can keep spending whatever we want to spend on them, be it gun control, anything but to recognize it's you. Anything.
Yeah, I don't know, Peter. Have y'all seen this? Peter was asking the question, if you could comment at the end. You watched 2,000 Mules. Your thoughts? The same group presented to Arizona last night. Same results as we saw, basically.
I don't know what 2,000 Mules is.
Oh my! I can tell you right now, we got it. We rented it. I am not a conspiracy theorist. I am a show me.
Yeah.
I want to see. We rented it and put it on the projectors up here and had a watch party. And I can tell you right now, if you haven't seen it, you need to watch it.
I'm constantly working. I'll try to make some time.
I mean, you really need to watch it. It raised a lot of questions. And there's one thing I would have seen out of it, Peter, is they kept showing, and what they did was they used graphing or what's it called, where the cell phone signal you. These mules, these mules all over the place. And they have their names. They know who they are. And they have videos of them because each box had video at it. and you would see them walk up with gloves, put a bunch of ballots in, take their gloves off, throw them in the trash, and walk away. What I would like to see, Peter, is them show the same mule doing it in multiple locations, not just one.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I really would have liked to see, because they said these mules went to several locations, which I believe that they did, because they did the whole geo fencing, geo tracking. By the way, they also used that same company that did geo tracking helped solve a murder, because they put like 3 individuals at the same time within the geo tracking of a murder, and they actually solved the murder using the same programs that they use to follow these mules. And this is an independent company that does this, and it's a new thing coming into marketing. I mean, you know about that, John.
Yeah, there's you can geofence. For example, we did an ad campaign. It was expensive, but what we did is we geofence a certain building that might be in DC and figured out who was coming and going. And then we wanted to influence them. So what we did is we went to Hulu and ran Hulu ads on their on their TVs. So then what we did is figured out what neighborhoods these people lived in, and we did targeted mail ads in their neighborhoods. So when they all went back to work in a certain building that might be on a hill in DC, they all thought that it was a lot wider. Like, man, they're really advertising really big on, I saw it on my Hulu, I saw it on whatever, and everyone in my neighborhood got this ad, so they must have emailed the whole state. What they didn't realize, and I'm kind of pulling back the current a little bit, is that they got targeted because we knew they were in that building, and their neighborhood got targeted because we knew where they lived at. So we basically left off every other place. It was still expensive, but it was a lot cheaper than, doing a mail campaign through a whole state and pinning Hulu ads in front of everyone.
So yes, geofencing is real. We've used it on one of the campaigns a couple of years ago, targeting people coming in out of gun shows, things like that. You can do that. So what they're saying is it's very real. I mean, it's a very real thing that they can track you and know where you're at, and know who you are, and be able to target you. So they are telling the truth about that, Peter. I just wish they would have showed a little bit more of the same mule going, but what we seen was so obvious. It is wild. But I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, I gotta watch it, I guess.
Oh my God, you've got to, because it goes into all that geofencing and tracking. You need to too, Instructor Mike.
Yeah, you give me something new to look at. So,
oh man, yeah. It'll blow your mind on some of that stuff. We're about out of time here. Any questions for us, real quick? Hey, Mike, tell them where they can find you on TikTok.
You can find me on TikTok at Yes Mike Said It. Yes, Mike Said It. That's where more information will be available on Project Veteran Overwatch, a veteran-led, community-involved initiative. Definitely more information on that. Again, at Yes Mike Said It.
Here, let me type that in real quick. Sorry. Crap. That was wrong. I'm gonna pull up your deal real quick.
Okay.
Okay, there it is. I just want to make sure I spelled it right.
Sure.
Oh, said it. Okay.
Yes.
Well, hell. That didn't go there. All right. And that is there we go. That is it. That's on TikTok. That's all you've got to go to TikTok. Type that in, and you will find him. You got what, about 778,000 followers right now?
Yeah.
You're doing something right. You've got people following you, and I mean, of course, you got your naysayers, but
Yeah, it's funny just to watch them. I'm still waiting for the plans. They have nothing.
That's
You
what I
always
like
gonna have
about you.
naysayers.
Yeah, I read some of that stuff. You're like, okay, well, give us a better plan.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's the best way to challenge somebody who has something negative to say. Okay, Einstein, give us a better plan.
Give us
Okay,
your opinion.
cool.
Yeah, what do you plan on doing? And then
Yeah.
you get the
Right. Well, you can't be on school property with firearms. I'm across the street. I'm literally not on school property. I trust me, I know the law. So
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
my friends. Well, do y'all have anything for me or any other questions out there before we get off here?
Well, looks like we might be good.
All right, make sure that y'all come in and join our get our coffee. We have a new flavor out. It's a phenomenal. We are also still running a sale, a summer sale.
It's a freaking incredible sale too.
Yes, it is. I mean, it is an incredible sale. And on top of that, they have just listed a bunch of holsters that were made twice for 2 different orders or things like that over the past year. They have a bunch of brand new relics and belts, things like that in our bargain bin. So you're not only getting a discounted off that, but you're also getting a sale off on that. So I mean, that's like a double whammy. I know they've got a really nice Ranger belt in there right now. I wish it fit my fat butt.
Yeah, I will say
wrapped it up.
I will say Jm4 Tactical Holsters are the only holsters I use right now for my concealed carry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna definitely check it out.
One of the things I like about it is they don't print very much.
No. I love those magnetics. And of course we've got the relics. The relics are phenomenal. Well-built holsters and it just really depends on how, we've got a pretty much carry option for anybody out there. And it's going to be good quality, all made right here in the state of Texas.
Well, that's good.
All righty. Well, I appreciate y'all. Real quick, let me get I guess I got to get over here and figure this out since Kiefer isn't here.
Uh-oh.
John, I'm working on it. All right. I'll give y'all a call here in a little while. All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right. I think I'm still trying to figure this out. What'd you think of that Kimber ad?
I liked it.
All right, bud. Well, I appreciate y'all, and I'll talk to y'all later.
All right. Thank you, Chad.
Thank you.